Man, the Ravens gave it to the Lions today. They beat Detroit 38-6. And this was one of those games where everything went right for the Ravens and everything went wrong for the Detroit Lions. The Lions defense had no answers for the Ravens offense. And the reason for that was because they went up against an unstoppable force today, and that was Lamar motherfreaking Jackson. And for all you clowns out there that be screaming, Lamar Jackson can't throw, well, your ass got proven wrong in this game because Lamar Jackson was looking like the black version of Tom Brady out there. He went 21-27. He threw for 357 yards through the air, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions. Lamar Jackson definitely made a claim to be in the MVP discussion with how he played in this game. And I feel like this version of Lamar Jackson is better than the version that we saw back in 2019 when he won NFL MVP. Lamar Jackson has been really accurate throwing the football this year. He's been really impressive in the quick passing game. He's been really accurate in the short intermediate passing game. He's been throwing dimes downfield all season long. The only reason why Lamar Jackson hasn't had better performances in his previous games has been because the wide receivers have struggled to catch the football. In this game, we saw the Baltimore Ravens offense and how good it can be when everybody's executing and everybody's performing at a high level. We didn't see any issues with the dropsies out of these wide receivers like we saw in the Ravens loss against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Zay Flowers had a fantastic performance. You also had tight end Mark Andrews, who had 2 touchdown receptions in this game. This is one of the most difficult offenses to defend against when they're performing at a very high level. And it all starts with Lamar Jackson. Even when the Detroit Lions defense was able to cover these wide receivers and nobody was open, Lamar Jackson was getting outside the pocket, not looking to run, but he was looking to create opportunities to buy time for guys to get open. And I had a homie of mine that hit me up during the mid portion of the second quarter, and he said, dang, this Ravens offense looks so different without Greg Roman calling the plays. You want to know why? Because the Ravens finally have an offensive coordinator and Todd Monken who's able to get the most out of the passing game. The big knock that Ravens fans had on Greg Roman was that he had elementary passing concepts. His passing concepts were not that hard to defend against. Plus, he was running 3 tight end sets, treating them like they were 4 wide receiver formations. You finally have an offensive coordinator and Todd Monken that's able to run a complementary style offense. He's able to get these receivers involved, the tight ends involved, the running back involved. He's able to find ways to spread the wealth. And with that, he's elevating Lamar Jackson to a level that we've never seen Lamar Jackson play before. Lamar Jackson, in my eyes, has always been an elite quarterback, in my opinion, ever since his second season in the league. But now with the fact that he's having a true offensive coordinator that knows how to maximize the personnel that the Ravens have, and with the Ravens finally having a good supporting cast around Lamar Jackson, you are now seeing how unstoppable Lamar Jackson can be at times when he's playing his best football. When Lamar Jackson is at his best, I think he's the most scariest quarterback in the National Football League. Patrick Mahomes is unstoppable. We know that. But he doesn't have the kind of game-changing ability that Lamar Jackson has with his ability to damn near be a home run threat, taking it to the crib nearly any time he chooses to tuck and run the football. And plus, Lamar Jackson has shown how great of a passer he is. He's a really good distributor of the football. And like I said earlier, Lamar Jackson in this game was looking like the black version of Tom Brady. There was a point in the first quarter where it looked like the Ravens were just running routes on air, and the Lions secondary had no answers for this passing attack. And the Ravens defense, they played just as good as the offense. They got after Jared Goff all afternoon. They got 5 sacks. And this is with Detroit having what most people regard as one of the best offensive lines in the whole entire National Football League. The Lions have like a top 3, top 5 offensive line in the NFL, and you really couldn't tell with the way that this front 7 was getting after Jared Goff all afternoon. The Lions also struggled to convert in third down situations. They couldn't really get too much going in the run game, and the passing game just got absolutely obliterated by this Ravens defense. I mean, this was just an all-around great performance out of the Baltimore Ravens. And I know Detroit Lions fans are going to feel like they didn't play their best football and they left their good performance on the plane on the flight to Baltimore. And I would agree with that. This is definitely the worst game that we've seen the Detroit Lions play all season long. And I don't think we're going to see too many performances out of this like we saw this afternoon out of Detroit. I don't think this loss makes Detroit look like they were overrated or overhyped. You know, every dog has their day. And for the Baltimore Ravens, this was just one of those games where everything they seemed to call on offense and defense seemed to work. Sometimes when you're a good football team and you're going up against another good football team, sometimes that other team may just have your number that afternoon. And even when you were looking at Dan Campbell's reaction on the sidelines, he wasn't going crazy. He wasn't living on the sidelines. Even when they were talking to him after halftime, you know, he was cool, calm, and collected. He knew that this was just one of those games where the Lions just weren't able to get anything going. And the Ravens, after the way they played in the first quarter, they carried the momentum that they built from their first quarter fast start, and they had it all throughout this game. The Lions, the only time I felt like they had the chance to get a little bit of some momentum on their side is when they forced that fumble. But outside of that, you know, there was really nothing that the Lions could do to get anything going in this ball game. And like I said, sometimes every dog has their day. The Miami Dolphins are one of the best teams in the NFL. And a couple of weeks ago, they got clobbered by the Buffalo Bills. The Buffalo Bills put 40 on those fools top right after they had put 70 on the Denver Broncos. You know, like, you can be a good team and still have really bad performances. For the Detroit Lions, I feel this loss is going to be good for them because now they're going to be able to go back to the well, try to figure out some new ways to have more success on defense. And you got to remember that the Lions are kind of beat up in their secondary. They had a couple of starters that were out in this game, and you definitely could tell with the way that the secondary played in this game. One of their backup cornerbacks was playing like 50 yards off against Zay Flowers, and it led to him getting an easy first down catch on 3rd and long. Like, the Ravens, they just had a very good game playing against Detroit, and everything seemed to work. Todd Monken, it seemed like all his offensive plays were money in this game, and the Detroit Lions defensive coordinator, Aaron Glenn, a lot of Lions fans are calling for his job, but you got to look at how you have performed overall. And I think defensively, with how the Lions have played on that side of the football, I don't think Aaron Glenn needs to be fired. And I think the Lions fans that are getting frustrated and are screaming for people to get fired are just overreacting to one bad game against a really good football team. If the Lions were to play the Ravens 2 more times this season, I doubt the final score will be as one-sided as what we saw today. The Lions are still one of the best teams in the NFL. Coming into this game all week long, a lot of people were giving the Detroit Lions a lot of praise. Stephen A. Smith had them as his #1 team in the NFL. The Lions are still a top 3, top 5 team to me. It's just that the Ravens just had a really good performance. And Lamar Jackson, he definitely was a big reason why the Ravens had this dominant win. But you guys give me your thoughts on the Baltimore Ravens beat down over the Detroit Lions down in the comment section down below. Do you think that the Lions are going to be able to bounce back from this? Or do you think that this loss is going to kind of have their season going in the wrong direction? And how are you feeling about the Baltimore Ravens? Do you think that the Baltimore Ravens should be viewed as a legitimate threat to win it all? Or do you think that this is just one performance and you got to see more out of the Ravens and you got to see more consistency out of them? Because the Ravens, prior to this game, even though they only had a couple of losses, this offense didn't really play at the level that they should have been playing, because this is one of those games where everything went right. But really, when you go back and you look at that performance against Pittsburgh, they left a lot of plays on the field. You had a drop touchdown by Rashad Bateman in that game. Even against the Tennessee Titans, the offense could have played better. It was never Lamar Jackson not being a great passer. It was just the fact that these receivers at times can be really inconsistent with being able to catch the football. But when these receivers are able to get everything figured out, this is one of the most unstoppable offenses in the whole entire National Football League. Make sure that you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel for more NFL and college football content, and I will see you guys later with another episode of the JT Sports Podcast.